Lord of wisdom, source of intelligence, we welcome you to this auspicious gathering, an august moment for the pursuit of knowledge that is offered for the glory of your name. We do not wish to ask you more than just you joining us today, but we look forward to your heavenly grace to amplify the desire for truth, to look up for and become prudent to learning. Keep us grounded in your love and mercy as we traverse a challenging path to keeping the inclination of understanding you and your most awe-inspiring creation. Be with us, O Lord, and descend your Spirit on us to maintain an earnest desire, the knowledge, truth, and understanding you, the guide of the wise, the stronghold of the learned. This we ask through Christ, our Lord. Amen.
Maayong hapon, good afternoon everyone. Welcome to another learning episode. This is the third and the final part of our research webinar series. And I would like just to bring you back, or let's have a recap. First, we have the hospitality industry in the face of COVID-19 topic and research method. That was the first webinar that we had. We with Dr. Teresa Inot of the University of San Jose Recoletos Graduate School. And yesterday afternoon, we had the topic developing and adopting research methodology in the new normal. And we had Dean Rumor Abaygar of Taguig City University as our resource speaker. And this afternoon, it's another exciting topic. And to officially start this afternoon session, let's hear the welcome message of the OIC Dean of the Business and Hospitality Management Department of Crystal E College.
It gives me great pleasure to extend to you all a very warm welcome on behalf of the Business Administration and Hospitality Management Department of Crystal Lake College. It is gratifying to note that we are able to provide you an activity like this, which covers a series of research webinar initiated and organized by Sir Franz Byron Gian. I cannot thank you enough, sir, for your initiative and for everything that you are doing for the department in helping our students. Thank you. And I wish to take this opportunity to welcome all the participants who will be joining in this webinar series starting today and for the next coming days. It will surely be filled with useful information about different topics, like the topic that we will be discussed today, the hospitality industry in the face of COVID-19, topics and research methods, which is very timely in the situation that we are facing right now. And another would be on developing and adapting research methodology in the new normal. We are in the new normal right now, so there will be more research topics and research agendas that you can make with with our situation. And there's more to come in the next coming days. So this is very timely, especially that we have students who are taking research courses in this semester. Surely, this webinar series and from the knowledge and expertise that our invited guest speakers will share us, it would surely widen our knowledge in crafting and in completing your research projects. Doing research, of course, is really challenging, but I think that no matter how challenging it is, if we all have the attitude to persevere and of course with application of what your teacher taught you and the knowledge and the information you will learn from this webinar series, I highly believe that you can all do it. um, you carry with you the best wishes from the entire department to have a productive and a successful webinar series. A pleasant day, everyone. Good day and welcome.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Jovi, for that encouraging welcome message. She's right na research is really difficult, but it's just a matter of the right attitude for you to be able to surpass that challenge. Maybe none is excused with research. Kay dili ta graduate in college or in our graduate studies, master's degree, kung dili ta mo agi research. And I'm very honored this afternoon. Dili na nako padugay-dugayon. I am very honored to present to you our resource speaker this afternoon. She is currently an assistant professor too of Leyte Normal University. She has been part of the university for about 14 years now. She finished her Bachelor of Science in Tourism at the University of the Philippines, Diliman, in the year 2002. She earned her Master's of Business Management at the University of San Jose Recoletos in the year 2009. And she's currently finishing her Doctor in Philosophy, major in International Hospitality Management at the Lyceum of the Philippines, University, Manila. She was able to present her research during the Asia Tourism Forum in Bandung, West Java, Indonesia. She was also able to present her research in Harvard Medical School in Boston, Massachusetts, USA. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome virtually our speaker for this afternoon's webinar, live from Leyte Normal University, Tacloban City, Professor Emily Jill Torredes Nival.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hi, friends.
Hello, Ma'am Jill. Good afternoon. Thank
Mm,
you so much for being with us.
I'm actually nervous and at the same time excited. It's been a while.
Yes, of course. How are you?
I'm doing good, healthy, happy.
And how are you coping up with the COVID-19?
I would say it's still a challenge, but I believe I'm coping well. It's just that it affected my studies. I'm supposed to start with my dissertation. However, pandemic happened, so I am forced to take a back seat because of that. But other than that, I'm doing good.
Anyway, we will bounce forward instead of bounce back. We will bounce forward soon once everything will be fine.
That's correct. There's no other way but moving forward.
Exactly. I won't hold you so long. I'm going to give you the virtual floor for your presentation.
Okay, thank you very much, friends. Let me just share my screen.
Sure.
Okay. 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 So my topic this afternoon is I entitled it the ABCs of Tourism Research. Okay. So I'll start first with a brief discussion only of what is research. So we're going to tackle a little about the common forms of research that are being undertaken in the tourism, hospitality, and events management in the industry that we are in. So I would assume that most of you are students of tourism and also business students. So we're going to look at how research is being done in the industry as well as in the business. Okay. So first off, research actually provides an answer. Okay. It provides an answer to the question or the problem that needs to be solved. So basically, we undertake research because we saw problems, let's say in our organization or the industry that we are in, and we wanted to find out why these things happen and the reasons behind the phenomenon. Okay, so basically in the business, okay, in the business sense, and that is true also in the tourism business, research is a tool that aids manager in decision making. Okay, so in the tourism industry, both in that industry or in the business sector in general, research helps managers make well-informed decisions about their business. So before they do something, before they undertake something, they have to conduct research in order to check. Um, Example, if you are in the business, you need to check first what's the current market condition so that you would be able to come up with a proper product or appropriate products or services given the certain market conditions. So basically, in business, research takes in a different role siya. So it's basically more on problem solving. So you have problems, you have issues that you encounter in your business, and you help solve these problems okay, by conducting or undertaking a research. Okay, however, when it comes to in the academe naman, in the sector where I am in and where Sir Byron is included. Okay, basically the purpose of research is to acquire and advance knowledge. So whatever knowledge you need to acquire, you can do so by undertaking research. So like for example, for us who are in the academe, we undertake research because we wanted to fill gaps in the literature. So that's not the case in the industry, in businesses, because the reason why businesses would conduct research is because they wanted to come up with solutions to the problems that they are encountering. They want to look for ways by which they can improve the process, they can improve how things are being done in the business. But in the academe, especially when you pursue your master's or in your dissertation, it's basically the main purpose of doing research is for the advancement of knowledge. So kumbaga, continuous siya the learning. Um, we want na madagdagan pa whatever is the existing theories, existing principles that we have right now. So apart from that, we also in this um, side then, research is basically used in order to check. Okay, you check the theory and the principles, let's say theories and principles in tourism, and how that is being applied in actual, okay, in the actual industry scenario. So basically, if you want to learn something, if you want to learn more, you conduct research. Okay, but in the tourism industry, kumbaga, most of the researches that is conducted in the once you join the industry, it's actually more on action research and consultancy research. Okay, pero right now that you are students, what you actually need, or most of the types of researches that you undertake as students would be what we call the pure research. So I have here a table that would show you the comparison of the research purposes for the common forms of research as it is done in the tourism industry. So for types of research could be peer research, action research, or consultancy research. So an example of a peer research would be the academic researches, academic papers that is required of you to complete the degree. So that would include your undergraduate thesis, or sometimes they call it baby thesis, master's thesis and dissertation, or in your PhD thesis and dissertation. Okay, so the beauty of undergoing or undertaking peer research is that the focus of the research is purely determined by the researcher. So like right now, what would be required of you is an undergraduate thesis, right? So the ones that's going to decide on what type of research that you are going to undertake is going to be you, the researcher. Okay, and the purpose of which is basically to contribute new knowledge. So yun talaga, in when we talk about pure researches, it's basically to acquire or advance knowledge. It's actually the third na na reason why there is research. Now, in the industry naman, you would notice that for tourism students, when you join the industry, like you would be working in any of the industry that is under tourism. So you can join the transportation industry, you can even join the hospitality or accommodation sector, events. You can also join yung mga nasa mga theme parks. Now, you would notice that once you are there, okay, the type of researches that is usually undertaken are basically a form of market research. Okay, so kasi it is important for businesses to really truly understand their market, truly understand yung ano nila, yung customers. Okay, like yung sa in terms of tourism, our guests, our tourists, it is very important that we completely understand them, what are their needs, what are their wants, what their preferences, what motivates them to do certain things, what motivates them to visit one destination over the other. So most of the focus of the researches that is conducted once you join the industry after graduation are basically action researches. And this type of research, it is actually the employer who determines your focus. Okay, so the focus of the research, what type of research, kumbaga, the topic that you would research on, it is the employer who makes such decision, who makes such call. And basically, the purpose of which is to establish market conditions. So, para makita kung what's the situation in the market where the business operates in. Okay? And then another type of research that is being done in the tourism industry is what we call consultancy research. An example of that is a contracted research. So this happens when, let's say, a certain company would commission a consultancy group to conduct a research on their behalf. So, yung nagde-decide on what topic that the group is going to research on, of course, is going to be the organization which has contracted the researcher. So kung sino yung nag-contact, organization that got the services of the consultancy researchers, it is them who determines kung what topic is going to be researched on, and then what's the purpose of this research na gagawin. So, it is dependent on the contract, depending kung ano yung mapag-usapan, but it's usually industrial or commercial in nature, something that would help them advance their organization or their business. Now, I was asking Sir Franz the other night on what type of researches are expected of you as a requirement for the completion of this degree. And then I was told that it's normally pure research, but he said he is open also for action research, which is that's a good mindset to take, because in the tourism industry actually mahirap naman that we expect our students to really come up with pure researches if these students will join the industry din naman after graduation. They wouldn't be, not all of the students would be teaching hospitality, tourism, events like us. So it's also best if you can combine both. Okay, so pure research with the intention of contributing new knowledge or yung existing knowledge natin in the tourism industry, while at the same time also come up with an action research which would solve real problems that are encountered in the industry. Diba? Kasi when you conduct a research kasi that solves an actual problem that is being experienced by the industry right now, it's going to be, kumbaga, the value of the research that you would need to undertake, mas tataas yung value. Kasi di ba, it would be pointless for you to be conducting a research only for the result to be added dun sa existing na mga literature. And then when you join the industry, highlight mo, yeah, we've conducted a research, but then they would ask, what's the impact of the research that you have conducted? How did it affect, let's say, the industry, yung sector natin where you are applying with? So mas maganda din, you can come up with a research that is going to be a combination of both. But this time, it's going to be the researcher working hand in hand instead of the employer that's going to be your advisor that you would be working with in determining the focus of your research. Diba? Kasi students, your exposure to the industry is limited. That is why you would need the guidance of your faculty members that would act as your advisors in research in order to guide you or to guide you in the conduct of your undergraduate thesis. Okay, so so the next topic, that's the A of research, of tourism research. We'll now proceed to the next, which is letter B. Okay, so why conduct research? So here we are going to discuss the importance of tourism researches. Okay, so when I was making this presentation, I asked some former students, now, what's the B word that would enter your mind when you talk about research? Okay, so these are tourism students, these are hospitality students. So the B word that first came to their mind is boring. So they think, okay, most of the students think that research is it's a boring thing to pursue. So in fact, I've heard in the previous na mga previous webinars you had, it has been mentioned na, parang research is not really for everyone, it's boring, it's mahirap siya. Okay, so, but for me, if you ask me, research, specifically tourism research, na yung mga tourism students, hindi masyado into researches, it's research, especially tourism research, is actually a brave undertaking. Okay, it's a brave undertaking because it is true, although it's true that it can be challenging and confusing at times, pero once you complete a research and then it's being used and you were able to make a difference, let's say in the lives of, let's say, in a community that is into ecotourism, for example, it's actually rewarding. Okay, so I see it as also as a brave undertaking because not everyone would venture into research unless it is a requirement, let's say, to complete a degree, or in the case of those who are already working in the industry, nagre-research sila kasi kailangan inutusan sila ng boss nila. Okay? So research basically seeks to find out the truth, know why something happens the way it does, and this is specifically true in our industry, in the tourism industry. And research also seeks to apply general principles or theories to practice. This is the most important. Kasi diba, while you are in school, you are being taught about the different theories, different principles that would govern the tourism industry. And then sometimes you would be surprised that when you actually join the the tourism industry after graduating and then you start working, you would be surprised to find out na, parang, bakit iba? Why is it na different yung tinuro sa amin from the actual practice itself? Now, it is different kasi the tourism industry is a dynamic industry. Okay, so it changes every day. So, every day, every year, nagbabago siya. Okay, so that is why research is important so that we can take a look at how these general principles is applicable to the current situation in the tourism industry. Like right now, there we are in the middle of a pandemic. So basically, siguro nung earlier kayo na tinuturuan in the tourism, they did not make mention of something a pandemic na ganito ang scope, as big as the scope as what the COVID-19 is having now. So, iba yon. Okay? Iba how the tourism industry is being affected by this pandemic in the same way that when we experience mga ano din, meron din namang mga diseases na lumabas, diba? Earlier, there's a bird flu, AH1N1. So, ito kasi siya na what makes COVID-19 different from all this? Okay, so of course, through research, you would find out na iba kasi iba ang scope ng pandemic, iba ang scope ng COVID-19 ngayon compared sa Asian flu. Kasi yung affected ng time na yon, it's only a certain geographical area. While in COVID-19, it covers the whole world. Kumbaga, lahat tayo affected. Tapos yung time, siguro nung other, when we experience like an avian flu, it's just a parang certain area lang. Okay, certain region that was closed. So, sabihin natin na Asian region. But when COVID-19 struck, although it started with closing the borders with China, it actually affected the whole. So lahat ng continent closed borders, all countries closed borders. So kumbaga, these are things na you can only get to see, and these are situations that you only get to understand fully when you do research. So, like in the case namin dito sa Tacloban, kumbaga, yes, in terms of the tourism industry, we've experienced twice were affected by the super typhoon Yolanda. In the same way na kayo din sa Bohol, di ba? You were affected by the earthquake. The tourism industry was greatly affected with that, especially when yung mga attractions ninyo nasira, yung mga heritage churches ninyo nasira because of the earthquake. Okay, but how Bohol is affected with the pandemic is different from how you were affected with the earthquake. In the same manner that we here in Tacloban City, the tourism industry was affected by Super Typhoon Yolanda in the different way than COVID-19, this pandemic affected the industry. Baga, nung nagka-Yolanda dito, hindi naman nag-close down ang mga tourism establishments. I mean, physically they were damaged, but they were able to bounce back. Okay, so ngayon, with the pandemic, a lot of tourism establishments were forced to close down. Okay, so we are hoping that, sabi pa nga ni Sir Franz before, now we are hoping that the industry would be able to bounce forward. Kumbaga, if the theme for the Yolanda dito sa amin is bounce back, we hope that after this pandemic, you'll be able to bounce forward together with the whole tourism industry, not just in the Philippines, but in the whole world. Okay? So kung nagre-research kayo, when you first enrolled in your research subject in class and you were scared, it's okay. Kumbaga, kasi if you, sabi nga dito, if it's not being brave if you aren't scared. Okay, so if you're scared, it's a good thing. Kasi naman talaga, it's true that research is a brave undertaking. Okay, and research also leads to breakthroughs. Okay, so breakthrough siya. You learn something different. Okay, you understand, let's say, a certain situation because of conducting research. So research leads in tourism industry. Tourism researches leads to breakthroughs in, for example, understanding the industry. Okay. So how the local tourism industry provides many opportunities for small businesses such as the tour guides, hotels, restaurants, and tour operators. The significance of tourism on local businesses largely depends on many factors. So the tourism industry you learned in your tourism subjects in college, yung tourism industry is a complex industry, 'di ba? Marami siyang subsectors that are covered within the tourism industry, and all these sectors are being affected by tourism activity. So research could play a role, like for example, you conduct research to understand the market, okay, the market condition of a, let's say, the market of a certain destination and how it is affected by tourism activities. Okay, tourism research also may help you in identifying new market segments. So it could be that you are a business that is operating, let's say, in a certain destination, like for example, you are a tour operator. Say you're a tour operator in Bohol, okay? And then through research, you would be able to to identify, or you might learn that there is a new market segment for Bohol. Let's say kung ang dati, ang segment ninyo would be leisure travelers, so perhaps you would be able to, given the current tourism situation in your locality, you might be able to attract a different market segment. Like for example, yung dito sa amin sa Tacloban City. No? After ng Yolanda, actually, our tourist arrivals continued to grow. Okay? Continued to increase. Hindi siya nag-decline talaga na nag-nosedive ang tourism arrivals in Tacloban after Super Typhoon Yolanda. In fact, it continued to increase. It steadily increased. Okay? Nagkaroon ng bagong market segment, we say. Kasi there are people traveling to Eastern Visayas, not only to enjoy yung mga adventure activities that the region would offer, but they're here because they wanted to know how the destination is recovering from Super Typhoon Yolanda. So pumupunta sila dun sa mga different na mga sites that normally, or kumbaga inisip namin that hindi magiging interesado ang mga turista. But because of that, there are new tourists coming in, traveling to Eastern Visayas for that sole purpose. Okay, and we learned of that by conducting research. So you get to understand the industry more because of the researches that you conduct in the industry. Okay, so it is also understanding the industry also takes place when you see how these theories and principles in tourism are being applied in the actual practice. Okay, so you get to understand more the industry by looking at it through the lenses ng mga existing theories that were perhaps mga theories na kinam up ng mga researchers rather, decades ago. So, kumbaga, you see the current situation through their perspective, through their lens. So, ganitong theory mo siya tinitingnan. So, this is how the industry is performing. This is what's happening in the industry when you view it from this perspective. Okay, so because of that, you get to understand the industry. Napapa-aha. Kasi, di ba, it's a breakthrough in the industry. Okay, so conducting research also leads to breakthrough in terms of knowing your customers. So research is important to know your customers more. So you market more. Okay, so what is the role of research then? So you conduct research in order for you to understand the demographics of your guests, such as, let's say, for example, in this particular destination, ano ba yung edad ng mga pumupunta? Is it male or female? Okay, where do they come from? Do they come from it could be geographical location like US? Is it US, Europe, or Asian market? Or is it domestic market? Okay, and then you take a look at the income. Okay, those that usually visit our particular destination, do they belong to the upper strata of the society in terms of income? Yung malalaki ba yung income? Or mostly these are budget travelers. Okay, so in cases like this, kasi, it is important for you to find out what triggers them to buy from your business. Okay? By knowing their demographics, you would know also what are their motivations, what are their wants, and what are their preferences. So when you get to know your market more, okay, you get to know them deeper, you would be able to come up with suitable products, or you can make adjustments to your service offerings in order to fit what they want. Okay, and that can be done by conducting researches. Okay, you also get to learn about competition by coming up with a research. So here you use research in order to identify the strengths and the weaknesses of your competitors, and you try to know how they market themselves to their customers. So in doing so, you would be able to learn from their strategies. Okay, so I'm not saying here na you do research so that you would be able to copy their strategies. No. You do research para alam mo what are their strengths, what are their weaknesses, what are the strategies that they employ in order to get the guest, and what strategies can you adopt in order to be better than the competitors. Okay, so it's very important to know kasi what they are doing, how they do it, so that you can also make improvements in how you do things in your business. Okay? So if you are in the case naman of new entrants, kung bago ka na negosyo and then you enter the tourism industry, you're a new player in the tourism industry. So of course, you also need to do research. Kailangan din you find out saan ba, which area or which market is saturated, and which of the offerings naman ang merong gap. Okay? Armed with that information, perhaps you can build your business around that area, okay? Or if it's a certain location, around that location where there is demand but with little competition. Diba? So it would make your, kumbaga, if you're a new entrance, it would ensure that your the rate of success, chances of you succeeding in the business, in the tourism business that you are offering, is going to be higher if you study the market muna. And that includes studying the industry, studying your customers, and learning about competition. Okay? So, kumbaga, this is where research aids in decision making. Diba? You decide, let's say in the case of this new tourism business na itatayo mo, you are going to use your knowledge, you're going to use research to decide where to build your business, when, even the timing, kung kailan mo introduce ang business mo, it also would make a difference whether it's going to make your business successful or not. And that's one of the important role of research. It helps business succeed. So it's not just tourism businesses per se, but business, any type of business in general. So that's for our mga business students naman. Okay? Another important role of tourism research is in developing a growth strategy. Okay, so let's say you already have an existing tourism business. Let's say it's a hotel, and you intend to you intend to grow it. You intend to expand. So you don't just expand simply because you have the money. You have someone interested to invest in your business. You don't just do that. You have to have informed decision for you to come up with basically a sound decision, and you do that by coming up with a research. So, like for example, through effective tourism market research, a business can develop a growth plan and implement it to achieve your goal. So like for example, you conduct a research to try out, let's say, new products and services, and you do it on a small scale first before launching it to your intended market. So smaller scale muna, let's say it's this for a certain group of people first, so that you would know how, kumbaga, how they're going to receive ang product or service offering mo, and then how they would react to it. And then you can, in this way, what you can do is that you can make, let's say, it can help, you can fine tune the details of your products, or you can make improvements, or you can tweak your product or service a little in order to provide your customers with something new or something that they haven't tried yet and something that they would like. Okay, so that's when you do you develop a growth strategy. You do it slowly. You don't just automatically, kumbaga, introduce it in the market. Kasi it's going to be a disaster if kung ano lang yung maisipan mo as the owner of the business, okay, whether it's a tourism business or any other business, kung ano lang maisipan mo, i-implement mo kaagad. No, the the sure way of doing it is actually to conduct a research. Test muna natin in a, let's say, a small group of people, and let's see whether or not they're going to like it. Okay, so that group of people can be your proposed market for your product. And then you would ask for feedbacks, and you would ask them of how else the product or the service can be improved before mo siya i-launch to to your intended market. So from small scale to a bigger scale. Okay, so this is also an important role of research, which sometimes yung ibang business owners would fail to see. Okay, so now let's go to letter C. So research would provide you with answers. It aids you in decision making, and B, it's a brave undertaking that would lead you to breakthroughs. Now, how are you going to do it? Kasi di ba, when we do research, a lot of people actually are scared um, to do this undertaking. I would understand, especially yung mga tourism students, kasi back when I was still a college student, hindi pa ganun ka, hindi ganito ka, what do you call this? Hindi ganito ka-demanding ang research on our part. So it was more of us coming up with a development plan for a particular destination. But of course, that that task itself also requires you to do research, both secondary research and also primary researches. So how are you going to do it? A lot of us kasi would be stuck in writing researches. Nagsa-start, tapos you are not able to finish. Or worse, hindi talaga nakakapag-start. So, how to do it? Merong binigay si Safari, Dr. Safari Wamabalika, in his book, in Thesis on Dissertation Writing, Fear No More, na mga tips on 7 C's for successful research undertaking. So, the first C, 7 kasi siya, no? So, 7 C's in order for you to have a successful research undertaking. So, yung first kasi is that it is very important for you to have a successful undertaking. It is important to set clear goals and come up with a plan on how you are going to accomplish them. So, these 7 C's, which I will be discussing now, is actually would help you or guide you to come up with setting up a clear goal and how you are going to achieve them. So the first is clear conception of what you want. Okay, so this is very important. At the start, dapat klaro talaga ang yung concept. Okay, you are clear and you know exactly what you want to research on, and stick to it. Okay, the common problems kasi that we encounter is that, I want to conduct a research on this specific topic. And then later on, after you read mga iba-ibang literature, you decide, ay, mas maganda pala to. Mas maganda pala, ay, gawin ko na lang kaya na ganito na lang, ibahin ko. Okay? So from the onset kasi talaga, this is very important. Now, from the very start, you are already clear of what is it really that you would want to work on. So topic pa lang, malaking decision na siya na gagawin. It's a big decision, it's a huge decision to make in starting a research. Okay? So you have to know what you really want. So later on, that's going to be the meat of the discussion in coming up or in choosing what topic that you would want to undertake. Okay, I'll be discussing more on that later on. Okay, the second thing that you need in order to accomplish research undertaking is strong confidence. Okay? Madami kasi, especially na mga students, especially also more so because of the current situation that we're facing right now, sinasabi natin na it's impossible to conduct research. No, I can't do it. I can't do it kasi hindi pa naman pinapayagan lumabas ang mga estudyante. Pandemic pa, wala namang mga turista. Okay, so a lot of things actually are stopping you from conducting research, and one of the things, the second thing that you need in order to see a research into completion is strong confidence. So believe that you can do it and believe that you can finish it. Kasi di ba, if you are going to look at it, yung mga nauna na batch ninyo were able to complete it. Diba? Other students were able to make it. So there's no reason why you cannot do the same thing. So you need to have a strong confidence, really, that you can do research and you would be able to complete it. Claim it, and everything else would follow. Okay, another. Okay, it is understandable that with the situation right now and with the presence of technology available to you students right now, it's very easy na being distracted with Facebook, being distracted with, let's say, Instagram, Twitter, and with so many issues happening, not just in the country but worldwide. The tendency is that nawawalan ka ng focus. Okay? And when you conduct a research or planning to conduct a research, pa lang, like in your case, you need focused concentration. So avoid being distracted with the many things going on in your life. So wag mo nang pakialaman yung mga nangyayari sa mga artista. Wag mo pakialaman. You just focus on writing. Okay? You just focus on the undertaking that you wanted to do. Okay? So pandemic, social media, and sometimes personal problems cannot be avoided talaga. Pero you have to make it a conscious ano talaga siya, effort on not being distracted. Of course, I know this is easier said than done. Kasi ako din, I am now trying to complete my dissertation, and maraming mga things din na nagdi-distract sa akin. So you just have to be reminded again that when you conduct a research, you have to concentrate. Okay? Another also is stubborn consistency. Okay, stubborn consistency. You have to be persistent in your writing routines and timelines. Okay, so pag nagre-research kasi, hindi pwede na kung feel mo lang, saka ka magsusulat. Okay, you have to be consistent. Okay? In fact, ito nga yung sinabi dito, you don't need perfection. You need consistency. Okay, so tuloy lang. You encounter a problem, you encounter a difficulty, don't let it stop you. You can take a pause. Feel free to ask help if you need it, pero never stop. Okay, so it's a circle. It's a circle. You have to be consistent. Of course, you have to understand also and embrace the fact that there would be days na you wouldn't want to write. There would be days na tatamarin ka. Okay, but you always go back to why am I doing this? Okay, so you always go back to your goal, and that is to complete the research because that is a requirement for you to graduate. Okay, another is emotional commitment to what you are doing. That is why it's very important that when we choose a topic, You choose a topic that you are passionate about. You choose a topic that you would want. Hindi na pinilit ka lang ng advisor mo or ng research teacher mo to do this research. Hindi dapat dinidikta sa'yo. Okay? Because at the end of the day, personal commitment mo yan eh. Ikaw yun. And nobody can force you to do something that you don't want to do. Okay? Although it might work at the onset sa simula, it could be possible na napipilitan ka lang, but to keep it going, you would need commitment. Okay? You would need to commit that you're going to research about something and you are going to complete it. Okay? Another thing that you need, another C, the sixth C, okay, in doing research, okay, is good character. Okay, so good character to guide you and keep you on the right track. Kasi yan, personal trait yan eh. You need to remain determined to completing your research. You don't lose sight of your goal. Okay, never ever lose sight of your goal. Okay, kasi once you lose sight of your goal, yun na yun. Everything else follows. You easily get distracted, nawawalan ka ng gana, you no longer would be committed into completing your research, and that would be a disaster. Okay? Kasi it needs talaga determination. Okay? Determination to keep you on the right track, and that good character would serve as your internal compass. Siya yung mag-show sa'yo na, hey, we are heading towards this direction. We are going to complete this research because this is our goal. Okay? And the last C is the capacity to enjoy the process. So in doing research, na-mention ko kanina, yes, it's going to be tiring, it's going to be challenging, but enjoy the process anyway. Okay, enjoy the difficulty, love the process, and keep going. So to enjoy the process, you have to monitor your own progress. Nasaan na ba ako? And then you also, if it helps, you can also ask someone else to monitor your progress as well, to help you monitor your progress. Yung merong taga-remind. So in your setup, siguro, if the research is going to be conducted by group, it's going to be your group mates who would be pushing you also. So you keep on motivating each other kasi yan yung kailangan. And then, enjoy the process. Mahirap siya, of course. There would be obstacles along the way. But, like I said kanina, don't let it stop you. Just keep going. Now, let's go to the very meat of the topic. So, the first speaker ninyo in this webinar series actually presented to you topics that you can work on, but that's in the pandemic na setup, diba? Tapos, I've also watched yung sa second ninyo na speaker. So it likewise, the second speaker likewise presented you with the current situation in the tourism industry, and then nag-suggest din siya ng mga methodologies of doing research still in the middle of this pandemic. So, pero it will not be always pandemic. So, hindi naman siguro required that you would be conducting a research in this specific talaga na topic. Diba? Siguro naman, Sir Franz, hindi naman siguro sila limited sa pandemic lang, diba? Because the industry, hindi lang naman a pandemic like COVID-19 would put the industry on a standstill. Marami din naman. Okay, so today we're going to discuss how your techniques in choosing your topic. Bakit topic ang gusto ko na i-focus ngayon? Kasi the techniques naman, the methodologies that you would be doing, you decide on it later on. So the important thing for you to start any research is to be clear on what you would want to study. Clear conception, clear concept of what is it really that you would want to study on. What is it really that you would want to research on? So we always start with the topic. So where do you get topic ideas? Okay, sa tourism industry, madami. Like for us na mga who are in the academe, we get topics from from talking with colleagues, from talking with mentors who have been in the industry for a long time. That's how we get research ideas. Okay? Sa inyo naman siguro ng mga students, siguro with ilang months na tayo into this pandemic, ilang months na ba tayo? 9 months? 8, 9 months na naka-lockdown. So a lot of us have been attending various na mga webinars. And when you attend webinars, diba, may mga certain interest ka na mga topics. Yun yung attendan mo. So from attending these webinars, from attending these forums, these exchanges of ideas, this is one venue by which you can generate a topic idea. Okay, so in deciding on what topic to research on, the very first thing that you should do is to choose a topic that you like. Diba? Kanina inulit-ulit na yon na it has to be something that you are passionate about. Bakit? Kasi when you are passionate about it, hindi ka na kailangang pilitin. Diba? Hindi ka na kailangan pilitin to do it. You yourself, ikaw mismo ang mag-encourage sa sarili mo to pursue it because that's something that you like. Okay? So, it has to be in choosing a topic when you do research. You have to choose a topic that you are passionate about. Okay? But of course, it has hindi lang dapat mag-stop sa topic that you are passionate about. Okay? It has to be something that is interesting to the research community if it's a pure research, kasi diba, you would be presenting it in journals. Okay? So that's the research community composed of other researchers as well na magbabasa or to your audience. So like for example, pwede siguro na yung intended beneficiary mo for your research is your local tourism industry or parang a certain organization that you think you would benefit from your study. So, yun, dapat din interesting siya. It's just something that you are passionate about and then i-align mo siya dun sa interest din ng research community or to your intended audience. Okay, another important thing, it should be within your field. Okay? So, if you are in the tourism industry, dapat yung i-research mo rin is within that industry. After all, yung thesis na gagawin mo or yung research na gagawin mo is a final requirement to complete in completion for your degree. So, to complete your degree. So, it has to be something that is within your field. Otherwise, hindi siya i-approve ng thesis committee mo. Okay? So, however, I would like to add this thing. Kumbaga, sanay the academe is used to researches that are pure researches that has the purpose of advancing knowledge or acquiring knowledge. But in tourism, it is encouraged that you pursue something within your field, something that addresses a real problem in the tourism industry and not just plugging a gap in literature. Okay, hindi lang kasi, ay wala pang nag-research nito, kaya eto yung gagawin ko. No. Apart from that na wala pang nag-research, you have to remember your research has to be valuable. Diba minention sa inyo ni, I think it was your second speaker in your series of webinars na the value of your research is important. It is important to make sure that your research is valuable. So how can you make it valuable sa field ng tourism industry? Okay, so to make it valuable, it should address a problem, okay, so that your research can come up with a solution to that problem. Okay, thereby improving the way things are done in the tourism industry. Okay, and another, hindi lang in it, it's not just that the topic should be something that you like, it has to be current. Okay, dapat up to date ang topic na pipiliin mo unless you are doing historical research and you're a history major. Okay, and you're a tourism major, you're a business major, so that should not be, kumbaga, hindi yan kasama sa option mo. So the topic that you would be choosing must be current. Okay? But you don't stop there. Once you decide on which or what topic to research on, you have to make your topic manageable. Okay? How are you going to make your topic manageable? Okay? You narrow down your topic. Kasi 'di ba sometimes when you attend the webinars, when you attend talks, tapos mga forum, nagkakaroon ka ng mga idea na what possible research topics to work on. So, lahat ng possible topics, it could be generic. So, you're in the tourism industry, so you might want to think of, gusto ko ng sustainable tourism. Okay? Tapos you can narrow it down by, let's say, your advisor or your teacher would say na, okay, you do this. So under sustainable tourism, meron pang subtopic na i-assign sa'yo si teacher. Okay? Yung research professor mo or yung advisor mo. But that assigned topic would come from the list of possible topics that you have presented. Okay, that's one. And then, mas mananarrow down pa yan. That could still be narrowed down. Your topic could still be narrowed down by initial exploration. So that comes in when you do your review of related literature. So when you read studies that are previous studies or current studies that are conducted with regards to your assigned topic. So you would know na, meron na palang study na nakandak nito. Si ganito, nag-study ng, let's say, on sustainable tourism. However, sa iba siya, dun siya in the European context. So, you are going to narrow down yours by coming up with a study na applicable to, let's say, kung saan kayo, let's say, if you're from Carmen, Bohol. So, Carmen, Bohol lang yung study mo. Okay? And it could still be narrowed down further with when you come up with the research questions. Diba? Kasi yung mga problems naman na na-encounter or problems that they face in a particular place, it's going to be different with the problem na na-encounter mo rin in your locality. So it's going to be different also. Okay? Or you can narrow down your topic. Another technique of narrowing down your topic is when you focus on a specific context. Okay, so how do you focus or how do you narrow down your topic by specific context? So you can, na-mention ko na kanina, you can add geographical context. So let's say, I have samples later on, so we're going to look at it. So geographical context based on location or population, it could be that you come up with a similar study conducted elsewhere and then you conduct it in your locality, okay? And apply it to certain population, okay? It could also be, you can also add historical context. Historical, not in the sense na yung historical researches, historical by coming up with a time period. So you add that para makafocus ka, diba? Kasi if you're going to study it in its totality, baka hindi kayanan given the time that is allotted for you to complete the study. So you do it parang specific time period. Specify mo kung anong time period lang ang cover ng study mo. Okay? You can also narrow it down by looking at it on a specific theory or principle. ba? You look at the certain situation, you look at the scenario through a certain theory lang. Dun lang siya nakafocus. Yun lang ang lens na gagamitin mo in analyzing or in evaluating a certain scenario in the destination. That could be one. Or you can also narrow it down by studying only a specific set of variables. Or you can do so by studying only a particular sector within the tourism industry. That can also be possible. Or you can look at it on a certain perspective or a certain view. Okay? Certain perspective, like for example, you look at it on the perspective of the guest, or you can look at it by the perspective of the business owner. So, depending. Okay, it could be, you can narrow down a topic na broad by using these techniques. Okay, so these are some examples of research studies that are that was conducted na. So, like for example, this one, level of resilience of hotels in Tacloban City to natural disaster, Super Typhoon Yolanda aftermath. So you can look at it na. This study actually focused on a certain geographic area, and that is Tacloban City. You look at it and a certain context, resilience to natural disaster. Kasi it could be resilience to a lot of things, like pwede siya na organizational resilience, pwede din siya na in terms of the people na resilience. So this particular study focused on the resilience to natural disasters. Okay? And then, nalagyan din siya ng time context. Super Typhoon Yolanda aftermath. In fact, this one, kailangan mo pa siyang specify some more. Now, when you say Super Typhoon Yolanda aftermath, that would be any time after Typhoon Yolanda happened, and that's 2013 up to, let's say, 2020, and that's 7 years. So you have to contextualize some more. So in this particular study, this is a study I conducted in my thesis. Inalagay ko pa siya ng context na Super Typhoon Yolanda aftermath. Yung context niyan is the years 2014, 15, 16, 17, and 2018. So 5 years after Yolanda. Okay, another example, tourism in Norrbotten, Sweden. A better understanding of tourism and its future from the organization's perspective. So this one naman, this is a broad topic kasi when you say better understanding on tourism and its future, so it's actually broad, but he narrowed it down by looking at it from the organization's perspective and simplified it further from looking at or focusing on the tourism in Norrbotten, Sweden. So that's how you narrow down your topics. Okay, here's another example. Analyzing the resilience of tourism stakeholders during the COVID-19 pandemic, a case study of Bend, Oregon. Okay, so resilience of tourism stakeholders. So it's quite broad. So the different tourism stakeholders that are located in Bend, Oregon, in the U.S. So they look at a certain time period, and that is during the COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, and it's limited to the different tourism stakeholders in Bend, Oregon. Okay, so these are just some of the techniques, some of the ways by which you can make your topic manageable. Okay, you do it by adding a context. Okay, by adding context to your topics, you narrow it down to specific context. Okay, another thing. Okay, another step that you do, we are still here and choosing the topic, okay, is to do a reality check. Okay, how do you do a reality check? You ask yourself, is it feasible? Is the study feasible? Yung topic na gusto kong i-research, is it feasible? So that's the first consideration, the feasibility. Okay, feasibility by looking at the time needed to administer it. Do I have enough time? Okay, do I have the money and other resources that I would need in order to ensure that I would be able to complete it? So this is a reality check. It also would be helpful if you can ask yourself of the value of your research, proposed research, to the community at large or to the tourism industry. You ask yourself, is my research valuable? Baka naman wala siyang impact or wala siyang effect. No, that's more an effect. It's more an impact. Maybe it doesn't have an impact to the community where 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 I am in, or maybe it does not have an impact at all in the tourism industry. So if that is a question na hindi mo masagot, if it is valuable, then that's something na kailangan mong isipin ulit. So if when you do a reality check, palyado dito yung proposed topic mo, you go back again to the first step, and that is choosing another topic, narrowing it down, and then doing reality check. Pabalik-balik lang until such time that you would be able to complete the reality check that yes, this topic is something that I'm passionate about. This is a topic that I was able to narrow down and a topic that I can complete and see in reality, see to its completion. Okay, so these are some of the things that you can do when you make decision in research, in researches in tourism and in business. Okay, so with that, I'd like to thank you once again. I'd like to thank Crystal College for this opportunity, and I wish all of you the best of luck. So let me just leave you with this quote. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. And you have to start now. Okay? Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Jill. So that was Ma'am Jill. It was an overwhelming information, and you bring us to the really the basics of the research and the practical approaches. Let me rephrase when you said research is a brave undertakings, in which I would agree. Yes, you need to be brave. You don't have no choice but to be brave, or else you can't graduate.
That's correct.
And of course, we have been discussed by Ma'am Jill with the ABC. It has been simplified. The discussion has been simplified through the ABC processes. And let's try to hear virtual question coming from our virtual audience.
Oh, okay.
We have a question here.
I saw the question. Do you need to be fastidious in doing research? Wow, highfalutin word man ang gamit mo, Miss Angeli. So can you please simplify it? Mas highfalutin pa ang word na ginamit niya kesa sa mga words na ginamit ko in my presentation. Fastidious in doing research. Ba't ka natawa, Sir Franz?
Uh, of the highfalutin words.
Natawa ka sa highfalutin words. Hindi ko maintindihan anong fastidious. Ano ba yung ibig sabihin mo?
If I would say that it's into you're focused into details. You are very
Mhm.
particular. That's the way I understand fastidious.
Of course. Okay, kasi research is basically it's an academic undertaking. So it's very important that you have to pay attention to details. So it's not just details. You also have to look into the accuracy of the data that you would put into your research. Kaya nga importante din yung ethical consideration when you conduct researches. So yes, should be fastidious, not just in doing research. You have to be fastidious also when you work when you join the tourism industry and you start working. You have to pay attention to details, and you have to be um, concerned about accuracy and details. Mm-mm.
I think that was a question that the student wanting to hear from you, Ma'am Jill. I just want to
Mm-hmm.
bring back to your presentation about the letter B of the ABC of Tourism Research.
Yes.
Ma'am Jill
Which
mentioned
one?
about brave undertaking, in
Mm-hmm.
which when you ask your previous students, they answered you with boring.
Boring. Yes. Why you don't feel the same,
I feel the
Mr.
same.
Mr. D1?
I feel the
But
same.
usually when you ask tourism students and then you ask them to do research, I would say it's a boring undertaking because kumbaga yung nasanayan natin kasi researches are being conducted by those who are in the scientific field. Okay, so hindi
Exactly.
masyado. It's not that popular in the management and hospitality and tourism field. So, but that's something that is very useful kasi. The only thing lacking kung bakit yung research has grown in popularity in the fields of tourism and hospitality. It has grown in popularity very recently lang kasi dati-rate, we focus more, our researches in tourism is focus more on the practicality of it. 'Di ba? Yung mga companies, they do researches. Kumbaga, from time to time, they do researches. Even organizations, the Department of Tourism, they have data available actually, di ba? So Professor Rumar Abaygar showed you the statistics. Pero yung statistics kasi when you present it, what about statistics? So you would need research in order to make sense of what the statistics is, kumbaga, telling you about the industry. So it's not enough to look at the numbers. It's not enough to, like, let's say, tourist arrivals. So pag sinabi na tourist arrivals declined in the Philippine tourism arrivals, we were not able to hit the target. So, kumbaga, research, pumapasok siya kung ano yung implications nun. Why did we not hit the target? Okay, what are, kumbaga, ano yung reason behind doon? So, that's the beauty of research in tourism kasi it makes sense of what's happening. It actually explains kung ano yung nangyayari sa industry. So, merely it goes beyond just looking at numbers, looking at graphs, diba? So, yun.
I think we have another question.
Okay. Bakit madami silang question sa akin? Sa previous, wala. Hindi sila takot sa akin, Fran.
Your voice is so friendly, to be honest with you, while everyone is listening. Most probably, it became inviting for them to ask question.
Okay, papahirapan niyo talaga ako. So unfair. Siguro inutusan kayo ni Fran.
No! Wala.
Okay, so here's a question from Miss Sheila. What was the biggest difficult part in doing research? Depende siya. It depends on the researcher, it depends on the individuals. Kasi merong iba kasi, like, there are individuals that it's very easy for them to come up with topics to research on. Okay? However, kumbaga clear cut na eh. They're very clear from the start on about what they want to research on. Pero they encounter difficulties, let's say, in terms of their methodologies. So that could be one. Yung iba naman, yung difficulty, let's say, in gathering the data. Right now, we are on a pandemic, and that's the greatest challenge being faced by those who are conducting research or pursuing research at this point in time. So I have a lot of classmates also that were not able to complete their researches, their dissertation, because they were not able to gather data. Kasi nga, yung respondents nila are tourists. So right now, kumbaga, previous months, hindi pa naman open talaga ang tourism. So they didn't have, wala silang respondents at that time. So it could be difficult. Pero iba naman, may time din naman na madali lang. Ngayon lang na pandemic is kumbaga, a specific na, it's a special circumstance. Tapos, meron ding iba now, they would say na the part of doing research, especially in tourism, is that getting the, what do you call this? I encountered that when I did my thesis. Yung difficulty naman na encountered ko is getting the cooperation of the different tourism establishments. So my study then was on the different hotels operating in Tacloban City, and it was quite difficult to get permission from hotel owners that you would be conducting a study and that they would be the respondents. So I had two or three hotels na ano talaga sila, nag-say no sila sa akin kasi nga, kumbaga, they don't believe in research or they feel that they are being threatened by it. I don't know. Pero I had one telling me also na meron daw kasing mga information na hindi pwede i-share. So, iba-iba. It's going to be challenging. You would encounter challenges sometimes every step of the way. That is why it's very important that you are committed talaga na parang iyak ka, sige, iyak, pero you never give up. You just keep on going. Tapos the next day you encounter another problem na naman. So iyak ka ulit. Diba ganyan naman talaga pag estudyante, iyak nang iyak. Umiyak
Siguro
ka
not
ba
only being a
often?
student, but being a human being. Siguro the
Yes.
way we can relieve from the stress is an
Mm.
outlet.
Yes,
And
that's
one of
correct.
those is to cry out,
Mm-hmm.
diba? To express it with your friends who can relate with you. We have messages. Thank you for the information you gave to us, Prof. Emily Jill. God bless, and keep safe. And
Thank
another
you.
message. Uh, Thank you, Prof. Emily Jill Nival, for the new
Naval.
applicable information that will surely guide us undertaking our research study. God bless. Sa'yo
Mm-mm.
pang iyahang last name.
But it's okay. That's
Sa
still
pag-type to,
me.
ma'am. Sa pag-type siguro, ma'am,
Yes,
na
pag-type lang yan.
nagdali siya. And of
Oo.
course, I think you were able to satisfy the question because somebody just recently messaged atong question niya kung sa pinakalisod. Sheila
Fastidious?
answered you with, thank you, Ma'am Jill, for answering my question.
Hmm.
I think wala na
Um,
pangutana. Yes, Ma'am
sana
Jill?
wala na. Sana wala na. Bitaw eh. It's good na if you have questions kasi talaga. Kasi at this point in time, kailangan talaga mag-ask eh. Are they starting with their researches na, Sir Franz?
Yes, ma'am. In fact, title itself is already a struggle.
Yeah, yes. That's why if you notice, I only focus on choosing a topic. Tapos how to narrow it down. Kasi sometimes we get so overwhelmed, we get too excited, and that without us realizing it, we're making our lives difficult na pala. Okay, so just take the tips in narrowing it down. You don't have to study it whole. You don't have to start a grand research. You can start smaller researches, but something that would be valuable. Okay, you have
I-
to value really is very important in research. Because what's the point of conducting researches if it's not going to benefit the industry or it's not going to benefit the community? So it has to be something that's valuable.
exactly. What's the purpose of the research at the end of the day if no one will benefit from it?
Yes,
Sometimes kasi,
that's
Ma'am
correct.
Jill, ang atong mabantayan sa atong mga students, they just comply for research for the sake of
Mm,
their grade. But at the end
mm,
of the day, siguro ingon po nato, or let's bring back our audience sa giingon ni Professor Rumar yesterday, that if you are going to take really research into serious thing, it's sort of a source of income or living of other people because there is money on research.
Yeah, for consultants, research consultancy, this is also a very conscious, very lucrative na business if you really are into researches. Kaso lang, di ba, it's very important that you have talaga na, you have a certain goal of why you are doing a research. Now, if your goal is simply to comply with the requirement, mahirap siya. It's going to be difficult for you to keep going. So if it's just for compliance purposes, the moment you encounter a challenge, the moment you encounter a difficulty, it would just be very easy for you to give up. Kasi pwede mo namang sabihin, I can always enroll next semester kung ganyan lang din naman. But if it is something that you are passionate about, and if it is something that you truly believe that's going to make a difference in the industry, it's going to make a difference, let's say, in the local community if you are studying in a tourism that would benefit, let's say, an ecotourism side. Kumbaga, walang reason kung bakit hindi ka tatayo ulit after mo madapa. And in research, di ba, Sir Franz, you are, siguro na-experience mo rin yan na halos every step of the way, meron talaga siyang meron siyang balakid. Oo, meron talaga siyang malaking hadlang.
Yes, exactly. We experienced that as well. Uh, Binimo, you think that everything is fine and this is ready, pero by the time that you're already on that part, boom, you're
Oo.
surprised again with
Kasi,
another obstacle.
yes, because let's say kung ikaw lang kasi, if you see it from your perspective, there are so many things na nami-miss out mo. And when there are, let's say, other people looking at your study or looking at your proposal, meron silang nakikita na hindi mo nakikita as a researcher because you have a bias. So it helps naman. We have to be open with those possibilities. We have to be open with criticisms. Kasi the only way that we can improve and we can move forward and bounce forward, diba, is to really accept na kumbaga, meron talaga, it's going to be difficult. There are going to be challenges. May humabol na question.
I think this would be our last question. I promise you, I think this
Okay.
would be our last question. So the
Yes,
question
yes.
is, as a future researcher, how can we tell that our topic will be effective?
How can you tell? Kasi 'di ba binigay na natin doon na for you to really tell that wait, your topic would be effective, you cannot tell it at this point in time. Kasi 'di ba you would learn lang na effective siya after let's say mag-benefit na ang community from it. So ang magagawa mo lang, let's say at the onset pa lang when deciding on the topic, you have to make sure that as mentioned kanina, it should answer a specific problem that you see in the industry. Kung wala namang problema, kung wala ka namang makitang, let's say, a problem, wag mo nang ipilit. Kasi if there's a problem, the reason why you do research is because you want to come up with solutions. Let's say, more on yung sa management kasi ng mga researches, which dyan nagpo-fall yung mga tourism researches natin, you come up with recommendations on how to improve the process, how to improve things that are being done, let's say in a particular organization or particular destination. So, hindi naman kailangan talaga na very grand yung effect niya. For as long as may impact siya, even if it's just an impact to a small group of people, the fact that it made an impact, that is, or I could say that that's already effective, and that the research she pursued was something that was worth pursuing. Kasi you made a difference. It could be a difference in the lives of konting tao lang or a small destination lang, but if it made a difference, I think that impact is enough. Kasi 'di ba yung hinihingi lang naman na contribution natin sa mundo ay maliliit na contribution. 'Di ba? In fact, ang minimum lang na hinihingi sa atin is to being kind. Diba? But when you do a research that would make a difference, let's say na-improve yung life ng community, mas naging maganda ang kita nila because of, let's say, the recommendation which you made na based on the research that you have conducted, then that's proof enough na it's effective and it's beyond effective, I would say.
Right. Yeah, the person who asked the question is satisfied with your
Yes,
answer. Yes, and to add on that one, yes, your Ma'am Jill is right. Maybe let's think of a research not into the grand or a big coverage or a big concept. The important thing is being a beginner and giving an impact to a small community, to a certain group is already something. We need to bring back Ma'am Jill.
I'm here.
Ah, yeah, there you go. I'm so sorry. Wala na akong makita ni mo,
Okay.
ma'am.
Ay, actually also, hindi ko rin nakita ang sarili ko, pero that's okay.
But
I thought the
anyway,
time,
yes, ma'am.
I thought the time was up. That's why I was put on a backstage.
Anyway, I think all the question has been answered and satisfied
Mm-hmm.
by
Thank
those people
you.
who asked the question. It's time for me to award our certificate of appreciation to our resource speaker for this afternoon. Let me show our certificate of appreciation and read the citation. Crystal E College, Central Highway, Tawala, Panglao, Bohol. Certificate of Appreciation is awarded to Professor Emily Jill Torredes Nival and her valuable contribution as a resource speaker of the research webinar series entitled Practical Tips and Techniques in Doing Research, conducted through StreamYard platform on the 9th of December 2020, hosted by the Business and Hospitality Management Department, Crystal E College, Panglao, Bohol, Philippines. Signed, Will Tyrone B. Tirol, PhD, President. Ma'am, please virtually accept our certificate of appreciation.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
very
much once
much.
again, Ma'am Jill.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr.
Any parting words?
Like I said, I just would like to thank you, friends, and eCrystal College for for this opportunity. So, I haven't been teaching for quite a while. I've been on leave for more than 3 years now, so it's refreshing to be in this platform again, to be in this virtual classroom. Thank you.
The more being thankful on our side for saying yes to the invitation. Of course, for taking time preparing for that slide that you presented to us this afternoon. Once again, ma'am, once everything is fine, I hope we can invite you here in flesh to talk about more about research and inspire our students.
I'm looking forward to that also.
Thank you so much
Hopefully.
once again.
Thank you. You're welcome. Bye.
Bye for now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Mom Professor Emily Jill Torredes Nival. And we're very much thankful for the insight that she has imparted for us all this afternoon. And though this is the third and the final part of our research webinar series, we're hoping but by the next semester or maybe by the next school year, we can still have the same thing and invite more of resource speaker who can impart more of knowledge and information with regards to research, not only to our students, but to our dear faculty as well. And to formally close this webinar series, let's hear from the research director of Crystal E College, Mr. Mark Glenn Baldo.
Good afternoon, everyone. The information that we know, the gadgets that we use, the policies that we observe, and the things that we enjoy, most of the things that we enjoy around us, are products of research. Many people seem to show lack of appreciation of the role of research into our lives. But truth be told, research is like a catalyst for a positive change. To our students, I hope that you have learned new things in this research webinar series. Let us change our perception towards research. Research might be tiring, but it is fulfilling. Research might be complicated, but it is helpful. Research might be tedious, but it is necessary. In behalf of Crystal E College, I would like to acknowledge the efforts of Mr. Franz Byron Guan in his initiative to host a research webinar series to further the understanding of the students. I would also like to thank Dr. Teresa H. Enot, Professor Rumar Abaygar, and Professor Emily Hill Torredes for accepting the invitation as the resource speakers for the research webinar series. You have taught us a lot of things, and you have given our students an inspiration to do research despite the limitations that we have right now. The research webinar series comes with a hope that may the culture of research be instilled in the minds of our students, to everyone, but especially to our students. Once again, in behalf of Crystal E College, we thank you all for this very educational and insightful activity. Have a great day, everyone, and God bless.
Thank you so much, Sir Baldo, the research director, for that wonderful closing remarks, and you're very much welcome as well. And at this juncture, let me take the opportunity to say thank you to the officials of the Crystal E College, headed by our president, Will Tirol, PhD, Vice President for Academics, Ma'am Joselle Tirol, the OIC Dean of the Business and Hospitality Management Department, Ma'am Jovi G. Martin, the Research Director, Mr. Mark Glenn Baldo, and of course, our resource speaker for this afternoon, Professor Jill Torredes Nival. I would like also to take this opportunity to say thank you to the technical and production team that I have here. They have been with me from the very first day of being on air live on this platform. I would like to say thank you to Miss Aldanisa Dalagan, to the production head, Mr. Marvin Mandin, to Ivan Ray Toledo, to Miss Maricel Rejas, to Eman Paredes, and Gregan Andilab for setting up this beautiful studio that you can see from on my background. And of course, to Carl Alboradora, Joshua Carl Alboradora, for lending your technical help or support since yesterday when we get trouble with our when we first get encounter the trouble of being on air live. I hope so. You learned something for the three different resource speaker with different topic. To our researchers, please pursue. Do not be afraid of taking the leap, and keep safe always. Have a great day. God bless us all. This has been Franz, signing off.